straight full.
Are you guys live streaming that as well? Or are you recording it and then putting it out afterwards?
No, we live stream it as well, and we have live guests, and it's whoever has a paranormal story can come up and talk to us, and I think that's prepared me for listening to the more colorful people out there who have opinions about local politics.
Well, I would imagine doing a paranormal open mic, you would run into a lot of colorful people.
Oh, yeah.
That have some interesting stories.
But they're great, and most people just want to be heard. They just want to be listened to, and they just want to understand the world that we live in.
How did that start? What, are you kind of a paranormal guy? Is that...
So some of the films that I work on are paranormal related. So I was doing some Bigfoot hunting with one of our local Bigfoot celebrities.
I saw the vampire video that you guys did out at...
Oh, yeah.
It was in Ferndale?
That was just fun. That was just...
Yeah, that wasn't a production shoot or anything.
No. That was just... I think Peter had his cell phone, and... but yeah, we definitely wanted to give... Because Peter had seen online, he had seen a like a
TikTok
meme
video or something.
Yeah, that said, in Ferndale, California, there's a vampire grave.
Didn't quite pan out though.
No, there was but it never ever, like when you're trying to find like for sure evidence of the paranormal, it's kind of hard to let me turn down my phone too.
Well, I would imagine, especially with Bigfoot. Did anything pan out when you did that, or you guys are still looking for him?
No comment on that. To be determined in season 47.
That's the funny thing with those shows is there's always another season.
There's always
another. They get close, but they never actually catch him.
Oh, we were just there. He was just, look at that. It's a footprint. Could have been from anywhere. Could have been from anything. But it's Bigfoot for sure.
Are you a believer in Bigfoot?
Well, let's just say as a politician now, because everything I say is now political. Bigfoot has a big footprint in this economy. So, and people have definitely seen things out there. And we'll just leave it at that. I mean, I believe in the Bigfoot phenomenon, and it's done a lot of good, and it's given people a lot of hope. And there are people out there trying to preserve history and legacy of Bigfoot history, because the Patterson-Gilman footage was filmed right here, just north of Willow Creek in the Bluff Creek area. And so there's a group of people called the Bluff Creek Project. One of my buddies, Rowdy, is on it. And they go down there and they clear it up, and they actually used video for measuring distance, for trying to get accurate readings from the video that was shot, the Patterson-Gilman footage. Ugh. Sorry, that's
no worries. That's the Red Bull talking.
Yeah, that's the Red Bull talking. That's not me. Oh, wings. But yeah, they went out there, they cleaned up all the brush, and they were able to get actual measurements based on the rocks and the sticks and the things that were in the video that are still there today, and they were able to determine height and speed.
Is that the footage of the
classic
walking?
Yeah, the one where he's looking back and he's like, oh, or she. Her name is referred to as Patty.
Do you think that footage was legit?
It's definitely on there, and it's been analyzed by a lot of scientists, and it's been analyzed by a lot of researchers. And there's some interesting findings for sure.
Wasn't the guy that filmed that, didn't he buy a Bigfoot costume or something, or was with a guy who had a Bigfoot costume? And
I don't know. I haven't heard that, but I'm not, I just point the camera and record the audio, and I guess host a paranormal podcast.
And so the paranormal podcast came out of Weird Howard.
Yeah, well, that was it was actually Peter's idea. He wanted to do a open mic that was paranormal related, and he approached me to help out with it. And I brought a little more pizzazz to it. Like put made it into a production. Candles, skulls, Ouija boards, all kinds of. You gotta sell it. You gotta
dress the set a little
You gotta
bit.
dress the set. You gotta make sure that people know when they come in and they sit down. And it's it's getting paranormal in here. And plus, it's a great time. It's like spooky season coming up. So.
And you guys do it at the Crisp Lounge now too, right?
Yeah,
That helps.
It's a great place. Oh yeah, because anybody can sit there and talk about the UFOs, but how many people can sit around and talk about the UFOs while high in a public place? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the way the pot industry has grown since legalization, leaps and bounds, and just fitting in all these little niche. Have you been to the Crisp Lounge?
I haven't.
Oh, you got to go. It's really fun. They've got pool tables. It's like a sports bar, but with weed. You can smoke in there, and it's great to you can have. It's non-alcoholic beer that they serve there, and it's so nice. It's really cool.
Yeah, I've heard good things. They do live music. They have comedy nights there.
Yeah. It's all Peter, or like 90%. I don't know the percentage, but yeah, Peter does a lot of work with Comedy Humboldt. So it's great.
The interesting thing about that is you kind of have this repertoire of work to some extent, and then kind of pivoting into politics. Are you worried about the optics of that?
Oh man, if optics or something that the first district people worried about, I'm pretty sure that would have come up more than once already. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, your optics and the optics of your competitor, I mean, you guys are an interesting duo, to say the least.
Yeah, I would say the least.
Is that what was your motivation to run? You have Weird Howard, you have this open mic for paranormal activity. Did you just think, I'm going to throw something else in the mix?
No, well, I had always thought about running for office, specifically here, local politics. So I was in the Coast Guard for a while, and I got medically retired out, and there aren't a lot of resources here for veterans, and definitely not in the healthcare area here. There's really not that much. So in order for me to start treatment, I actually had to take their shuttle buses from the VA clinic here in Eureka, and it's about a 6 or 7 hour drive down south to the San Francisco VA Medical Center. And it's so much easier to just do that than to drive. 6 hour drive is killer. And then you have to wait 5-6 months to get reimbursed for your drive trip. It's easier to just hop in the shuttle and try to nap. But I ended up sitting next to somebody who was also going down for cancer treatment. And he was a member of the Humboldt County Grand Jury. And we ended up really just getting into a big discussion about the local political scene and what was kind of happening behind closed doors and what people didn't want to get out, and some less than reputable practices that may have been happening. So he invited me over to his house, and I had a meeting there with several other people that were also under that had also served on grand juries. And if you don't know anything about the grand jury is amazing. Everybody should try to get on a grand jury. They have them every year, and you can join, and you can basically investigate anything you want. You have free reign. It's a great civilian oversight of the county government. And if it didn't exist, a lot more problems would be around. So that's what really got me into, somebody should probably say something. Somebody should probably stand up because there is a ton of things that need to be corrected. And it's a list, and it's just getting longer and longer. So that's what really got me going. And then I beat the cancer. I had a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And yeah, I mean, at least it wasn't that Hodgkin's lymphoma. Nobody wants that. Non-Hodgkin's, right? So I beat the cancer, and then it was the pandemic. And everything was happening, and you had to live your life kind of online. And then now that that's not over, but, subsided significantly, I decided that, and I had heard from several people, from several friends that the current supervisor wasn't going to run again. So I was like, oh, all right, this might be a good time to just put my name out there just to get some, recognition and talk about some of the ideas and talk about some of the problems that the county has. And then he did announce that he was going to run again, and it was like, all right, well, I guess it's a race now. So it's been very interesting because I don't live in those political circles. I don't follow the people involved in those. I have my own side that I work on, and most of it is film and commercial, and most of the people I work with are not really politically engaged. So I'm coming from a completely different perspective on local politics. And it's, there are positives to it and there are downsides to it, for sure.
Like most things, right?
Like most things, yeah. You got to take the good with the bad. You got to roll with the punches a little bit, and you got to just, you got to focus on, I want to do good. I want to do good for the community. And this is an opportunity for me to do good for the community. And even if I don't win, getting all of this out for other people, other voters, it's going to help in the long run anyway.
When you said you don't run in those political circles, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I don't know the people that are financing donations to candidates. And from what I understand, I probably don't want to know those people. So I'm just going to stay out of that. In fact, when I first announced that I was running, it was on the Lost Coast Outpost page where they had talked about how the candidate that was already put their information in, they were raising funds before putting in their requirement that they needed. And I had already done that. And I'd also decided that I wasn't going to raise any money until after I could gather enough signatures. I can't even start gathering signatures until the 14th. But as soon as I get enough signatures where it's like, I'm definitely a viable candidate, then I'm going to start in earnest with political donations, because I want to show people that I don't have any ulterior motives. I don't work for any kind of, I'm not behooved to the money that other candidates might be. And I'm trying to put myself out there as let's kind of clear up some of the possible means of corruption that the government has. And let's, close some loopholes so that more money goes into the hands of the people that need it with government programs than people that probably don't have the best reputation.
Are you worried that is going to hinder your campaign where you are running against an incumbent who does have financial backing?
Maybe at first, but that's why it's more important for me to get out there and meet people and talk about the issues that surround the actual communities and put together a plan that will help the most people, and not rely on. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to individuals and their concerns and what's happening with them, before I'm talking about, well, what's this business need? What's this? It doesn't matter. What matters is the people that live in the first district, and then also the people that live in the county themselves. And Humboldt County has a lot of problems, and I think the solutions to Humboldt County problems have to come from Humboldt County. We have to really think about Humboldt County as its own island. And, there are state regulations that come out that don't really apply or don't really fit well within Humboldt County itself. There are definitely issues that come up that it's not always what's best for the people that live here.
Do you have concrete examples of that come to mind?
Oh, let's see here. Let me think about it for a second. Let me drink my Red Bull. Sponsored by not Red Bull. I know I do. All right. So when I was at the Mattoll Grange the other day for the meeting between PG&E and Frontier, the Mattoll Valley needs a lot of work. The internet has been out. Phone service is almost non-existent there. The teachers at the school need constant online communication in order for students to be able to finish their school and work following the federal guidelines of things. And internet has been so shoddy. And it was originally going to be fixed. I think they said like 7 years ago. They put in this, we're going to put in all these programs and stuff. And when PG&E first came out, they said in order to fix the electricity out there, it would cost, I think they said $300 million, which, no, it won't. That's a ridiculous amount. And all the people of the Mattoll Valley are paying for is bonuses to a company that doesn't even exist inside of Humboldt County proper. We're paying for lawsuits from burning down communities several counties over, and it's just a lot of bloat. So I went there and I started talking about how the community there would benefit from community-owned broadband network cooperatives and electric cooperatives. They would be completely owned by the people that live there and run and managed by the people that live there. So they'd be accountable to the people that live there. And they build these cooperatives all over the place. There's one in rural Alaska that provides electricity, telephone, and cable TV to this people in this remote part. If they can finance and build a co-op in super rural Alaska, then we can do it in California when we have Google fiber lines coming in to Samoa and everything's getting upgraded. It's not going to cost. That's a crazy amount. That's laughable, and it's just one of those things that it's like that's just one problem in a sea of problems that this county has with especially with finances. So finances are ridiculous, and I'm actually happy that we're talking about taxes and finances. Let's make government boring again. Let's not. I don't want to have to sell myself based on my personality. I want to be able to sell hey, you know what we should do? we should reduce expenditures by implementing audit report recommendations. Like, oh, we've had so much money go missing. So Humboldt County is it's unique. There are trusts out there that have community money in them that are not overseen equally. So money goes in, and so like one of the points at the 2020 audit was that there's a children's and services, or there's a in-home health. There's a services trust that's used for medical care, and $1.4 million got wired out of it, and we have no idea where it went, who it went to, who owns that. It's just gone, and there's no accountability for that. And if that was just the only issue, then it's like, well, I mean, obviously we have an issue there, but there are hundreds of things like that happening. And the audit report recommendation shows that, the Board of Supervisors has the ability to vote for a official way to close out all of these trusts, and we can combine all those trusts into like a single trust. So the county is actually going to be able to account for everything in and out of that. We'll cut off all the other bank accounts that are loose. And then if you have a larger trust, you're earning more interest on it. You're getting more returns on the money that's there, and that'll help shorten up some of the budget falls that we found.
Has anybody offered an explanation for the $1.4 million?
No.
On where it might have gone? Nobody's said anything.
No, it's just if you can read, you can pull up the audit report on the Humboldt County government website, and I suggest everybody read the audit report. Everybody read the grand jury findings, and just really understand what's happening in your community. And a lot of people don't have the time to sit there and go through all this, but there's a lot like that all over the place, and it's freaking ridiculous. In fact, the county budget that the supervisors vote on, 1% of that budget goes just to covering transfers. That's like $8 million. Like, you know what we could do with $8 million? We could build line of sight towers for the Mattole Valley and flood the whole valley with data cell phone towers so that people driving through or people driving down 101 will actually be able to use their phones. Like, it's ridiculous how much money waste there is.
Well, apparently just missing money on top of that.
just because we don't know where it is. And it's like, oh, we should probably find that, but we're probably not going to. What did they say? They said, did I print it out? I didn't print it out. I didn't bring it with me. But yeah, it's oh, do I have it on my notepad? Like a real notepad. No, those are keys. All right, never mind.
But I don't know if it's that people don't care or they just don't have enough time to actually look into it to care or to know to care.
I mean, I'm lucky because I got to retire early, so I have a little more time on my hands, and myself and the other veterans that I get to work with, we like to dig. We like to look at things. We like to have, because you're supposed to be, government service is government trust, right? People trust the government to do the right thing.
Do people trust the government anymore?
No, they don't.
Where's
because
that
there's no public service is a public trust is what I mean. Public service is a public trust. And if you serve the public, you have to be able to be trusted by them. Yeah. I've just been going days now. I need to take a break. But I'm going uphill. I'm working against the grain here. So that means that I've got to make up lost time. I got to get my name out there to the people.
Do you feel like you're fighting against the tide?
At first I really did, and a lot of people still believe that I am. But everybody I've talked to has said that it is really good that I'm running, that somebody has competition for the first time, like real competition that's going to ask some really tough questions and try to get what's the community back together in a way, because we're all a product of divisive politics. There are community services out there that are politicized all the time. So, if you need them, obviously you vote that way, or you don't, but that's not how community services are supposed to work. That's not how the government's supposed to work. We're all in this together, every single one of us, it doesn't matter your background or what you, it matters what you care about, but it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter how long you've lived here, whether you've lived in the county for 6 years or your family's been here for 6,000 years. All the services should work for the people of the community that they're supposed to serve. Yeah, I know it's hard to follow up on that.
Yeah, that was interesting. Do you think that, is your approach in this campaign, are you trying more so to raise awareness with the hope of potentially winning, or are you just providing healthy competition to the democratic process? Or do you believe that you have the tools to actually implement
all three,
some real change?
Yeah, no, there are. If I do make it, the first thing that we need to do is find out where the county actually stands on funding, and we have to implement these changes. And I've already talked to a few other supervisors, and they're all on board. So, if I make it, these are getting changed. These are getting done.
Did you ever follow the Karen Paz Dominguez auditor controller race?
Yes, I did.
What did you make of that?
Regardless of how you feel about her, she brought up some very valid points, and she brought up some very good points about the state of county finances. And regardless of how you feel, like politically, everybody should know what's in the piggy bank. Everybody should be able to look up and go, yeah, that's what the piggy bank holds. And if you can't, and if you have dark money out there where you just don't know where it is or where it came from or where it's going, that's less oversight, and that's worse for the public overall, and definitely worse for the trust in the government.
Well, not to put words into her mouth, but my impression was basically that the county finances are kind of a dumpster fire. And she brought that up. And would you say anything has changed since she tried to bring these revelations forward, or at least say, hey, something's wrong?
I think that, yeah, because her look back started while she was in probably about, it went like eight years back, where it was over the last 8 years since she'd been there, or 9 years since she'd been there. There was a lot missing. So dumpster fire would put it kindly for what it is. The best thing that happened, though, is that we do have a lot more eyes on it, and we have a lot more people that want to know what's happening. And just listening to the experts involved in the audit and just saying, okay, if we did what these experts say that we're supposed to do, what the Board of Supervisors is supposed to do, and bring our finances up to the same level that the rest of the state follows county finances, that's going to do a lot. That's going to help us get more grant programs. That's going to help us get more federal money. And that's going to help the people of Humboldt County overall.
Do you think these changes are realistic, though?
Yes.
I mean, you have a board telling you we're willing to play ball, but you also have that same board that has done arguably nothing to mitigate any of what was brought up.
Well, since
it was brought up.
It's a very divided board.
Yeah, but you're only taking one seat.
I am taking one seat, but it's a seat that has historically been very anti-change. So it's a seat that's been very slow to change the culture that we need to change.
Yeah, but we're talking about finances. That should be a bipartisan issue, right?
It should be a bipartisan issue. It really should. But here we are, and the person in that seat is well liked, and if you follow the North Coast Journal, I think one of the articles in there was how that person wanted to give $23,000 to their friends who were also taxpayers. So for $23,000, yeah, I'll be somebody's friend. I'll support them all day. But no, I'm not. That's what I'm trying to fight against. But yeah, no, go.
No, continue.
No, but yeah, those little payoffs aren't good for the people at all. I mean, 1 in 5 people in Humboldt County right now that we know of are at or below the poverty line. So 1 in 5 people out there are struggling between paying for gas or paying for milk. And we've got to work past these partisan ideas. I'm really glad that the position that I'm running for is a nonpartisan office. I don't want to play party politics. I'm not a politician at all. I'd rather be home playing Starfield right now. I would love that, actually. But here we are, and the normal political process that people engage in haven't put forward anybody that really wants to change things, and nobody that anybody can really believe in. So I want to do my best. I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to implement changes, or at the very least, be able to tell people, hey, we need to fix this.
So in your opinion, is it that this board seat is the one that is holding up some of this change from happening?
I think there are more elections coming up. I think that board seat is a big part of it. I think it's got to be ratified by 4/5 of the Board of Supervisors, and we're almost there. If I can get one seat, I'm pretty sure one of the other 2 seats is going to side with us. So it might put us over the top.
So you're almost one domino falling in a
Yes.
chain.
Yeah, and that's all it takes, really. That's all change takes, is that little tiny domino, that pushover that says, I'm going to try something here, and who knows how positive of a change that would be.
Do you have any political experience or any experience at this level?
At this level, so I was in the military, and the military can be considered kind of political. There's definitely you have to be in with the right people sometimes to make the changes that you want. When I was overseeing millions of dollars worth of inventory and inventory control and using purchase cards and auditing and doing a lot of inventory there, there's a lot of oversight. There's a lot of oversight, especially in the Coast Guard, especially with the Department of Homeland Security. And, you're working with other federal agencies like the FBI and You're just working to make things better, and you're making sure that you're crossing your T's and you're dotting your I's, and you're making sure that things work on paper, because they've got to, because your name is attached to the paper that you're saying, hey, this is how much we have. And if your name and that number don't add up, they know who to go for.
And what was your position in the Coast Guard?
I was E5. I was I was on the list to make E6, but they don't promote when you're on medical hold. But the Coast Guard's kind of different than the other military branches. Were you in the military?
No.
Okay, so like with the Army, the Army recruiters have, like, they say there's like 300 different jobs in the Army. You could be a guy that fuels a tanker all day, and that's your job. But the Coast Guard only has like 23 jobs, so you have to cross train. So I went to the law enforcement school when it was in Petaluma, California. I was EMT. I did firefighting. I ran a kitchen. Like there's all kinds of stuff that you have to. It's really a multi-mission agency, and you kind of have to. That experience actually works really good with small local government like this, because you don't look at it like, oh, we have the money to spend anywhere we want. You go, well, where can we save, and where can we put the maximum amount to do the most good of our resources? So right now, I think the best thing that we can do right now is to create low-income and no-income housing. That's the best thing that the county needs, 100%. That would, because it is like a domino, right? You have housing for people, and people that haven't had housing take up a lot of money in the medical side of things. Right now, medical care in the county is more than 50% of the budget. So you get people into positions where they're not needing to go to medical care all the time because they have stable housing. You cut back on what you're spending every month.
So this medical care essentially is from getting people off of the streets.
No, well, yes.
Housing.
There is some overlap, but no, if you get people off the streets, they're going to require less medical services. They're not going to be as sick all the time, and they're not going to be, like, all right. So I knew a couple veterans that were on the street, and when you're on the street as a veteran, you're trying to get medical care through the VA, right? Well, the VA has to ship prescriptions to you. But if you're homeless, how are you going to get prescriptions to get treated for your mental illnesses? You can't. And the way it is here, we have a tiny clinic, so most of the medicine for the VA system has to come up from San Francisco at the main clinic. So by the time it gets here, if the veteran is no longer in the same spot, he's not going to get the help he needs. But you get these people off the street, and you get them into a stable environment. You're looking at the hierarchy of needs, right? Once you get situated with shelter, you see it. Like, it's like a fog lifts, and they go, okay, I can kind of think now. I'm not in survival mode. I'm not worried about where I'm going to stay, if my tent's going to get tore up, if I'm going to get thrown in jail, if I'm going to get beat up by somebody, So you do that first, and that lowers the reliance on medical care here, and it also cleans up the streets. And when you have clean streets and you have low-income housing where people's paychecks don't have to go almost all to housing, they have more money to spend. You're going to have clean streets. You're going to have people that have spending money. You're going to have businesses return. You have businesses return. The county gets more taxes. services get expanded, and things work out for everybody. And it's not just, I'm not just pulling this out. These are experts that have done this all over the world, because we're not the only people that have had a homelessness crisis or having to deal with out of control spending. So
wouldn't this low income housing just add to the spending though?
So the way that I would like to build low income housing, right? Because right now we're at the beginning of a bubble crash in housing. The market is about to crash. So things are about to get bad for people. And we have enough high income housing in the area. So if you want to go around and you want to find a place that's $4,000 a month, I'm sure you can find one. That's not a big deal here. We have plenty of $4,000 a month housing. But if you have housing that's based on your income or based on the minimum wage, so like what, $15 an hour minimum wage right now? So you multiply that by 40 hours a week times 52 weeks a year. You divide that by 12, and then your housing should be about 1/3 of your income. So if you're working full time, 15 hours, $15 an hour, full time, your monthly rent should be about $860. So that's what rent should be. And you're not going to find that. You're not going to find that at all here. It's a little more than $860. I'm just rounding around. So really, that's one of the biggest issues is we don't have, and is it? There was a homelessness solutions committee, and committees like we've already spent the money to study what type of housing we need. We've already studied what the solutions are to the issues, and nobody's implemented it. And you can all day you can say, yeah, we should do something. Yeah, we should do something, but it's a lot harder to actually do something. So in order to pay for the housing that we need to build, because we need to build it. And a little bit of housing is a little bit, it's not enough. Like you can argue, well, we're trying to build housing right now, but we have to worry about parking lots. That doesn't matter. We needed more than just one. It needs to be more than just one little area that needs housing. We need it all over the county, especially in rural communities where you have farmers that have farmhands that, like their food is getting more expensive because those costs are getting passed on to the consumer. And people are already having a problem, buying gas, buying milk, buying food. And it's just exponentially getting worse. And unless we do something now, immediately, we're going to have a big collapse. And it's going to be the worst that Humboldt County has seen. Because the last collapse that we had, the 2008 homeless collapse, or the housing crisis collapse in 2008, all over California, housing prices dropped, 20%, 30%. People were upside down on their mortgages. That happened everywhere except guess where? Yeah, that's right here. Because we had a community that had farmers that were bringing product that was putting money back in the economy and keeping everything stable here. And when you look at history, agrarian societies are the ones that are going to be the most stable. And if we start ruining that here, especially with out-of-area interests that might not have the best land use ideas, we're going to suffer bad. What I want to do, there's something called the certificates of participation. And basically what it is, it's equity that's built up. So the county has billions of dollars worth of assets that have equity in it. And the supervisors have set a cap of 5%. And we're not close to that 5% of what equity we can use, right? But part of that that debt that level that we have, and they do count on the budget. They do count the certificates of participation inside of that 5% debt cap, which is fine. We should be monitoring it anyway. But we have $320 million worth of pension debt that we have to pay down. So we get our spending under control. Because we're leaking our finances out like a sieve right now. So we have to shore that up. So we actually see what our expenditures are. And then we issue certificates of participation, and we need to build community-owned, county-owned housing. That housing would be owned by the county, so it would count as a taxable asset, which would help offset some of that 5%. And if we build it all, we buy land where we need it, and we build on there housing, like 21st century real good housing. Because, have you ever heard buy it nice or buy it twice? Yeah. So we need to do it right. And we need to build housing, and we need to build it at a scale that it has not been seen in this county. And building it like that is going to create jobs when there's a downturn right now, when everybody is going out of work. And that also is going to go back into helping our local community. And it's a win-win-win-win if we do it right. But we need the votes for sure.
But it sounds like that is going to take a lot of money, right?
Yes, it will.
A lot of money from a county that is not only bleeding money, but losing track of money.
Yes. So what's good about the certificates of deposit or the certificates of participation is it's basically grants that the county can put forward. And it's based on the equity, and you can liquidate those grants, and you can have investors buy those grants, and they would actually get percentages of whatever rents are collected, and they would get percentages based on the county paying back to close out those certificates. So it's not the same type of debt. It's a more stable type of debt, so it's easier to manage, and it's a lower overall cost to the county with bigger investments in the county thing. So yeah.
Is there interest in investors to do that though? Because if you have the money, why not build the housing yourself?
Yeah. Well, right now banks are pulling in money. They're pulling in assets, and they're not investing in high yield stocks right now because everybody's sheltering for a potential storm. So county bonds are actually one of the best investments that people can make, especially in a downturn economy that we're looking like we're heading toward. So if we do this now, we'll actually be able to make a big difference. We'll actually be able to ride out a lot of the problems, and Humboldt County might come out on top, and we might be able to even solve homelessness in our county for the first time ever.
What do you make of the argument that some people have posed where the path to solving homelessness does not begin with getting them into housing? That you need some transitory stage where you can move them maybe to not a commune, but like a little area where they all are, and you can kind of get them stable and then get them into housing. Whereas if you just dump them into housing, they're still doing drugs, they're still having issues.
Problems. Yeah. That's a fair point. And that is something that we need to look at. And one of the solutions that was posed for that would be like an emergency shelter. So Cal Poly was trying to build trying to order like a housing barge. They're called an accommodation barge. And it's basically like a big floating hotel, but it also has, it's got kitchens, it's got common areas, And
You want to put the homeless on a barge?
Not all of them. No, obviously not. But we do need immediate relief for homelessness. And I don't think we're going to be able to build something fast enough to get relief. So, I mean, I've been on an accommodation barge. It's not a bad, it's really not. People have this idea. They're really nice, actually. And having a kitchen there that could be staffed by people where we could train people how to work in a kitchen, how to cook, where we could, that would be a great jumping off point for people to enter the workforce, because, I don't know if you've ever worked in kitchens, but we don't care where you came from. Can you sling a knife? Can you work some hash on the grill? Fine, you're hired. It's a great place to kind of reset. But if we want to support kitchen staff, normally not the best paid in the world. So even if somebody's working 40 hours a week, they're not going to be able to afford the housing. So it's a good transitory stage for people before they move into regular housing.
Would this be a forced removal program or forced relocation?
Here's the thing. Why are we forcing removal of people if we don't have housing for them?
Well, the barge would solve that, right?
Yeah, the barge would solve that.
So if you implemented the barge, would you forcibly remove them?
What I would do is I would get rid of a lot of these. I think you could educate people, because here's the thing. Some people just want to be homeless. Some people do not want to work, and they don't want to be a part of a society that they feel there's no place for them. And be free. If that's your idea of how America works, is just, I want to just be by myself, like me in my tent, they should at least be able to still have services. We need toilets, we need showers. Why can't we put showers along the beach? At least that's something, some kind of measured response for people. We should have public area for people. The privatization of the world is happening, and it's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that it's a problem to have people camping out under stoops of businesses, lighting stuff on fire? I mean, you have the insane amounts of trash that is being removed from these homeless encampments.
Yeah,
you just let that happen?
No. That would be up to the specific areas.
Well, it'd be up to you if you were on the board.
If I was on the board, here's the thing. The city of Eureka, the city of Arcata, Fortuna, they all have their own ordinances. So it's up to those cities to how they want to deal with it. And I can give recommendations, and I can give where I'm coming from. But I think there are places that people shouldn't be living. And, that's how it is.
What do you do with those people that want to live there, though?
Well, are they public spaces?
Well, you could say that downtown is a public space, but I think the business owners would have a problem with people camping out under. Well,
yeah, that's why you do have to clean up. You do have to clean up. And that's part of the solution. You get housing in there, you get emergency shelters in there, and you get people. So one of the because we had a group of experts that were paid very well by the county to come up with solutions. And open spaces, day centers, emergency shelters, that's where people want to be. They don't nobody really wants to live under the stairs. People want to live with dignity. If they're going to be a member of the society, and is it too late for some people? I mean, that's a good question. How long has this been around? How long has this crisis happened? You know, at some point, some people have been homeless for a good portion of their lives, and it's not going to be easy to get them to change how they are, but it's not going to be easy for me to get people to change how they vote either. So, I mean, I guess it depends on what you believe in. Do you believe in people? Do you still have hope in the system? You know, that's how it goes.
Well, I think the system around the homeless is fundamentally broken.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And so my point of contention with this plan is it seems like it's almost more of the same, which we kind of know where that road goes, right?
Well,
I mean, we've thrown how much money at the problem of homelessness? And
like hardly any money. What are you talking about?
The state of California?
No, the state of California. I'm talking about the county.
Well, the county has services.
The county has services, but
and has these pathways that can help people. But the question is, do they want to be taken advantage of?
There are over 1,300 homeless people, unhoused people on the street right now. And well, at least in 2020. So it's probably gotten worse. There was a recommendation to build lower income and no income housing, and the county financed housing projects or helped finance housing projects for upper middle income and high income housing, almost doubling the supply that we needed. But when it came to low income housing, we built like 6. So yeah, you can say, oh, look at that. We did something. We put work into it. But was that really enough? Was that really enough where you can really say, yeah, we did something and it worked and it didn't work? You know, like there's not enough. There's clearly not enough data points there to point to anything being, yes, it worked or no, it didn't work. And when you look at other cities and when you look at other places that had the same problems, where they went with the Housing First initiative, you see, and they really, really invested in Housing First, you see a clear correlation between less drug use, less people on the street, and a cleaner area
What
overall.
cities have done that?
Let me see. Let me look it up.
I mean, my fear, if I was somebody going down this route, would be if we just take them from the streets and put them into housing, it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that we're not really solving any of the problems and the housing is just going to get trashed. And if we dump all this money into it, what happens when these places become uninhabitable?
Some cities in the United States have implemented the Housing First approach to housing the homeless. These cities include Columbus, Ohio, and Salt Lake City. Columbus has had a 70% success rate for housing the homeless. The state of Utah has seen a 91% drop in homelessness between 2005 and 2015. Could you imagine what 91% drop would do to Humboldt County?
Yeah, but that metric doesn't really mean anything. I mean, we could have 100% drop in homelessness if we took all of the homeless and moved them onto a barge. We could say, well, we solved homelessness. All these people are on the barge. They're not homeless. That metric doesn't talk about drug use. That metric doesn't extrapolate to, okay.
All right, let's look.
Are these people
deeper.
stable? Do these people have jobs?
No, that's fair.
Are they working?
That's fair. I'm looking it up. This is my looking up song.
I mean, I think, listen, the homeless issue is a problem. And I think everybody has these ideas, but when the rubber meets the road. Have you talked to John Shelter at all? Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Have you talked to him about his approach and what he thinks where he is on the ground working with these groups?
I've talked to several people who all believe in the home in the homes first.
John Shelter doesn't believe that.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think. No, have I talked to him? I've talked to a lot of people. I've been inundated with people while I was running this campaign. And as soon as I announced, it's been a week, and it's been ridiculous. Some of it feels almost over the top. Like, you ever see Back to the Future 3?
I haven't seen any of those movies.
How have you not seen?
I haven't.
We're gonna have to watch Back.
I've
to the
seen
Future.
clips. I haven't seen the full movies.
Well, I'm not gonna give you this reference then. You're gonna have to earn it. All right, let me.
All of these people though that have approached you, they all wanted a housing first model.
No, they're all very happy with any kind of change that we have, because what we're doing right now is unsustainable and it's not helping, and things are getting worse. So, literally anything is more than what we're doing. 18 people per 10,000. The U.S. 6% experience homelessness shelter in places like in North Safe Havens, night unsheltered. Increasing. Homelessness rates have been increasing by about 6% each year since 2017. This is due to rising housing costs and prices for essentials like food and transportation. Just building housing cheaper is going to prevent homelessness. Would you agree?
No.
You don't think that making it easier for somebody who is struggling to make rent right now?
Listen, I think cheaper rent helps people. Yes. I don't know if that is necessarily the root cause of homelessness.
What would you say is the root cause of homelessness?
I don't know. I've talked to John. I've had John on a couple of times. I think trauma plays into it. I think drug use can play into it. Mm-hmm. I think some people just like the life in some way, or don't like the requirements placed on them of being a part of society, so they go down this route.
Would you say, all right, so what is homelessness to you?
People living on the streets.
People living on the streets. So you don't count people that are living on somebody's couch as homeless?
Yeah, they're homeless, but they're homeless in a different way.
But it's still homelessness.
Okay.
So what do you think getting those people?
Yeah, I think cheaper rent would help those people. So those people aren't the problem. I think most people are pointing out, saying, hey, we need to fix this.
But at that point, when you are just on a couch and you have nothing but that couch as your safety net, if something happens, how close are you to actually living on the street in that position?
Well, I think most people are only one unexpected incident away from being on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, lowering rent, you're not going to get an argument from me. Is that going to solve homelessness? Is building a ton of low-income housing going to solve homelessness? I don't know if I buy into that.
It's going to prevent homelessness. It's going to take away from that.
But there's still going to be people that are homeless.
There are still going to be people that are homeless. Yes, we've established that earlier when we said there are some people that just want to live on the street, that don't want to have to deal with society. But that's not the majority of people that are dealing with or about to deal with homelessness.
But if we build this low-income housing, what portion is going to be prevented from the portion that is currently living on the street? Not the people that are living in their car, that are working, that are trying to make something happen, not the people that are couch surfing. I'm talking about the people that are living on the street. What portion of those people do you think would be helped by low-income housing?
You know what? I don't know. And I think we need to put studies together to figure that out. But I do know that lowering income or lowering rent-controlled buildings and rent-controlled areas so that lower income people don't have to worry about living on the street is a good first step. How about that? Would you agree with that? And I'm not trying to be like confrontational.
This is good.
No. Yeah, this is stuff that we have to worry about. This is stuff that we have to think about. This is problems facing the world. Yeah.
I think you should talk to John Shelter. I think he has a very interesting approach that is not the status quo that seems to be pushed.
Yeah,
and if anybody would know, it would be the guy that is going in there talking to the homeless people, working with them because they're on his crew.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody's really doing something to tackle the homeless problem in the county, it's probably John.
Then I will go talk to John because I am open to listening to other people and to getting new insight. And I think that's what we need overall when it comes to people that want to serve in a governmental capacity. We have to be able to look at different ways of seeing problems and finding different solutions. Because again, like I said, the problems for Humboldt County, the solutions for the problems to Humboldt County have to come from Humboldt County. Because again, we are a very unique island in the world, and it should be cherished.
I wanted to ask you about the short-term rentals, because I saw that was kind of an interesting point of conflict.
Yeah.
In the Lost Coast Outpost article.
Yeah.
Or in the comments of that article, I should say.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm a homeowner myself. I have a mother-in-law unit, and I would love to be able to get some money renting that out through short-term rentals. And several people approached me with data points backing up their claims that said that short-term rentals are not good for the community as a whole. It takes away, sorry, that was the Red Bull again. Yeah, no, it takes away from the housing market. It makes it harder for people because your rent is going to go up based on what they could get from short-term rentals. And as much as I would like to be able to get some extra money for my own reasons, I'm not going to do that at the cost of my neighbors. So, yeah, I will definitely say now, no to short-term rentals. And, I think that's how people should approach problems. Like, what do you have? Where's your data coming from? Okay. Yeah, I either agree with it or disagree with it.
Are short-term rentals currently allowed in the city of Eureka or in the county? I mean, I would assume that Trinidad would have some of those.
I know Trinidad was going through issues with short-term rentals, and I think it was affecting because Trinidad's a very vacation rental-y area. And I think that Trinidad actually petitioned to stop short-term rentals. And overall, I don't think they're allowed in the county right now.
Do you think it should stay that way? Those don't really have a place right now?
Until we have like a rent-controlled alternative to people, until we have enough housing where that's not going to affect everybody, then yeah, we should probably work on building housing first. Especially, yeah, if it's going to take away from people.
Would you be opposed to some sort of rent cap, just in general?
No, I don't think I would be opposed to it. People have been trying to rent. So rent has been increasing exponentially, but the housing it's becoming, and I think the word would probably be slummy. Like things aren't getting repaired. People are more concerned about how much money they can get without really caring about the tenant. And I think tenants' rights are getting stepped on. So if we're dealing with situations like that, then where there are complaints from tenants, then yes, we should definitely step in and go, okay, if this is how you're setting this up, then you can't raise rents until you actually fix some of the issues. And, maybe that'll get people going.
The tenant landlord debacle is so interesting because, especially over COVID, you had people on both sides who felt like they were just getting royally screwed over.
Well,
I know a ton of landlords that went upside down because nobody was paying their rent and you couldn't evict anybody and you kind of got fucked. And then I know tenants that were screwed as well because they couldn't afford the rent.
Yeah, well, didn't the California government say that they would pay back all the rent if you applied for their they had a grant program saying, hey, I know people aren't able to pay rent, people aren't able to collect rent, so there was a program for people to have rent covered by California. So
I don't know how that panned out.
yeah, it worked.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
People applied for it, and people got money, and it was supposed to cover 100% of the rent loss. So I don't want to hear it from landlords. Like, there were programs out there. There were programs. They were on the news. People were talking about them. Do a little research. In fact, look up all the issues that our county is having while you're on there. Look up the audits.
you said that you weren't really that political of a guy. You didn't really run in political circles before your decision to run. Is this a recent embarkment for you? Are you only politically fluent within the past week since you announced you were running? Or how long have you actually been looking at the county finances?
No, I've been looking. I retired 2016 and getting that bus, I think, same year down to San Francisco and really getting, having a lot more free time on me. So since then, I've been really kind of digging into all this.
Would you have run if you knew that Rex was going to run from the start?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, if it's his fourth term. It's his fourth term. He's been in there for 12 years. And honestly, at this point, if you feel that this term is going to be his swan song and it's going to make up for the last 12 years, go ahead. Vote for him. Go ahead. I'm all for that. We should have representation on every level. But if you're interested, maybe seeing what else is out there, kind of getting ideas from a different perspective, I'll throw my hat in the ring.
What do you think separates you from Rex? Why should people vote for you over him?
Yeah, that's the
That's the $1 million question.
That
right?
is the $1 million question. Why should you vote for Gordon over Rex? Honestly, if you don't know that already, then it doesn't matter what I say. But
I think a lot of people don't know who you are.
That's fair.
So,
I'm the guy that wants to fix the funding issues with the county. And I want to build a massive amount of rent-controlled, low-income housing.
That would presumably be on land that the county is going to purchase.
Yes. Yeah. So I want to actually make a difference. When I first met Rex officially as his opponent at the Beef and Bean, he was very he was tired. He's turning 65 this year, I believe, next year. Let him retire, guys. All right, that should be my campaign slogan. Just let him retire.
Well, 65 is young. I mean, look at our president.
Yeah, let's look at him. Let's really look at him. Yeah.
Are you a fan of Biden?
I don't think I've been a fan of any president for the past 30 years. I don't think anybody has my interests or my generation's interests at heart. At all. I think most of Congress still thinks bread is a nickel. So I don't care about any of their views. And I'm not trying to get I am nonpartisan. I hate everybody equally. How about that? That's a clip for your ad.
I hate everybody equally.
I hate everybody equally. No, I don't. I really care about the people here. If I didn't, I wouldn't be running.
Do you have a political affiliation?
No. I don't know what I registered. I think I was in the midst of like chemo treatment, so I was probably zooted out of my mind when I registered. I don't even think, I think I voted Green Party just because I was so freaking pissed at everything. Yeah. I haven't found anybody that really like aligns with how I think. Because, I'm not only like, so like I don't think we should politicize services, county services. Like people politicize the police. So if you like the police, you've got to vote this way. Like, no, that's stupid. That's a dumb way of looking at things. You like the police have definitely had to deal with some bad optics for sure, but that's because they're going in to do things that maybe the police don't need to go like, oh, somebody doesn't have the right permit, so we're going to knock down his front door, which he has to pay for, because when the police knock down your door, you don't get out of paying for that. And then, shoot a dog and tear up crops and throw them into the giant grinder. Like, no cop has gone, you know what I really want to do? Man, I was reading this detective story where they tore up a bunch of pot plants from this cancer guy's house. Wow, that sounds great. No, it's just bad optics, and it just feeds into this whole, the police are they're bad guys, really. No, they don't want to do that. What do they want? What do we want? We want crime to be lowered. And we're talking about victim crime, not victimless crime. Like, the cops don't want to be going to doing all these bullshit raids. Where the DEA is talking about moving pot from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which will mean that Humboldt County farmers will be able to ship out of state. Do you know how much good that will do for the farmers here? Do you know how much good that will do for our county? Like, we should, I mean, I know they've talked about this in the past with the branding it, like, Champagne is only champagne in the French countryside of Champagne. It's a great idea, but we really need to, like, if we're gonna work on that, if it's gonna go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, then we need to stop criminalizing. Because, like, if a mom and pop store doesn't get their registration done to open their store, we don't have the cops knock down their door, pull the milk out of the containers and cut them to pour them on the ground and handcuff Ethel to the register. No, like, that's dumb. Why are we doing it with this why are we doing it with this industry? And this Measure A is trash as well.
I'm not familiar with Measure A.
That's the one where they're trying to rewrite the Humboldt County general plan, so it would make it harder for they're trying to gut the industry.
Oh, the cannabis industry. I have heard the people be upset about it.
Yeah, no, people are upset about it. It's stupid because and another so the whole idea is that it's supposed to protect the environment. It's supposed to be for the environment. Don't you care about the environment, right? That's the whole idea behind it, so to protect the environment. But cannabis is so well regulated already. So yeah, I've got a map here. And if you look between District 1 and District 2, most of the pot grows are right there, right? And most of them run along the Mattole River. And what have we been dealing with in the rivers right now? Blue-green algae. What's caused by blue-green algae? Or what causes blue-green algae? It's farm runoff, right? That's I'm letting you know. It is farm runoff. So you would expect the Mattole River, since the majority of pot grows are along that river, you would expect that to be the worst river in Humboldt County. But it's the only one right now that doesn't have any blue-green algae on it. So don't give me the false data that it's there to help the environment, because it's not. It's there to gut the industry so that other investors can come in, buy up dirt cheap property because nobody can afford to live here anymore, and run everybody that has made Humboldt County great out of Humboldt County.
Well, a lot of people would say that the board screwed over the industry in the first place.
Yeah.
When they first came to the table.
Oh, of course they did. Yeah, and that's why, in the political spectrum, people are telling me, don't stand up for the pot industry. There are no voters there. Well, there are no voters there because they don't want to come out again. They don't want to be seen because you've screwed them over. Nobody in government has really cared about the farmers. So why should they care about the government? State of Jefferson all over again. Except, part 2.
I want to pivot back for a second and ask you about the police. What is your stance on policing today? Or policing in the county?
I was... So the Coast Guard is a multi-agency or a multi-mission agency that deals with its policing, its emergency medical, its firefighting. So I've been in some really crappy places, and I didn't join the Coast Guard to find nets and bilges filled with all kinds of feces and stuff. I support the police. I support what they're doing, but they need somebody who's going to worry about. They're having a hard time with optics, for sure, and they're only listening to the people that support them, that have that political ideation, and so people are getting frustrated because it seems like the police aren't listening to the other half of the population. And so we really need to work on coming together as a community and decide what policing means to us.
What does it mean for you?
Police want to do... overall, I think police are good people. I think people join the police force to do good. And I think that saying that can be controversial because there are some bad apples and there are some lapses in oversight and lapses in protocol. But ultimately, I think they're good. I think they want to do good for their community. And I think they want to be perceived for the good that they do. And I think it's hard for them to solve crimes when people don't trust the police to have their best interests. So people won't report things, or they won't come forward with information about something that they have. So it makes it harder. So it makes the police jobs harder to do. And that just builds into this cycle that, well, they're not really here to even help us, or they're not a part of the solution. So it's I think they need help for sure. And I think they want to do good, and I want to do good for them. And I want to work together. And I'm going to reach out to, I have so many people to talk to.
I bet.
Yeah, no, I've been constantly going. But yes, I'm going to talk to Sheriff Hansel, and I'm going to exchange thoughts and ideas about, what he wants and what the county needs and what his perception of what people need are. And I'm going to do my best to work within the confines that I'm given.
Has that been kind of an evolving view for you, your relationship with the police, or your view of the police?
A little bit. I mean, I was a hard charger, America, fuck yeah, for a good portion of my life. And then I'm getting exposed to other ways of thinking about things. And, if you want solutions, you have to listen to both sides. You have to listen to every side. You can't just listen to all sides. You have to listen to all sides. And you kind of have to work the dials of, safety, security, oversight, and all of those kind of shift when you move each other. So it's a balancing act. And we have to look at it as, what's the most good that we can do?
What's the most good that we can do?
That's what we're looking for.
Do you think that there should be more police reform? That we still have a long ways to turn that dial, or reallocation of fund gets thrown around in there too?
So, there's some officers have a problem with body cams, but
Here locally?
Everywhere.
Just in general?
Just in general. But if you look at the data, body cams are actually good for the police, because most of the time people are a little malicious in what they're saying, the police do. And body cams actually protect the police a lot more. And it's also another step of oversight for, if you have some negative interactions, or you have a shooting that takes place, that's evidence. And that's that's objective evidence. It's not there for the police officer or for the victim or for the perpetrator or whoever is the alleged other side on that. It's an objective thing. And that with maybe a community oversight board would be steps in the right direction, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable.
No, and it protects everybody, because, again, they're community services. They're supposed to work for everybody in the community, And even people that are arrested, even people that are taken into custody, they still have rights under the Constitution. You know, they're still supposed to be read their Miranda rights, and they're still supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So sometimes it's hard to remember
that not all cops are bad.
Yeah.
It's an interesting response. I had read through some of your old tweets I did some digging on you.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
In preparation, and I would not have guessed you would have been this measured on the police based on those tweets.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, what is it? The internet is a
player
like a
versus
megaphone.
Player sport. Oh,
yeah,
you were going in a different direction.
Yeah, well, no, the internet just enhances
a megaphone of people's ideas.
A megaphone of people's ideas, and so I was realizing that, you know, I'm getting on here, and what I'm getting is really one-sided, and I'm really not seeing the whole picture of it. And I went through and I unliked and I unfollowed a lot of things that were personally there that I felt weren't really giving things a fair look.
Was this prior to you announcing your campaign?
No, this was, you know, probably while you were going through all that old stuff of mine.
That was a couple days ago.
Oh, was it?
Once we kind of locked this in, I started doing some digging on you.
Oh, well, yeah, what was it?
I mean, there were tweets it was during the BLM riots. So
that was what, 4 years ago?
2020.
2020, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, but I think everybody was caught up in that. And everybody just wanted, like, no, everybody's yeah, exactly. But, you know,
so you were kind of caught up in the momentum of everything.
Of course. And that's fair. Everybody gets caught up with, you know, how things are going and
caught up in the mob.
Caught up in the mob. But yeah, you know, you mellow out. And
I'm kind of interested if those were the things that were left up. What did you kind of remove? What did you curate your feed from?
Oh, I haven't.
I thought you just said you went back through and unliked.
Yeah, I did unlike, but I didn't take away things that I tweeted or remove things that I had on my Facebook or everything. I mean,
but why go back through and even unlike anything?
Oh no, it wasn't during when I announced. It was right after that, directly after that. I was like, you know, I really need to like.
After you announced.
No.
Directly after what?
After the BLM protests.
You went back through and removed some stuff.
Right after these movements. You know, I kind of had to sit back. I had a time. I was still getting I was just getting over cancer treatment, and I was like really kind of clear-headed for the first time in a while. And I was like, you know, what is social media supposed to be? Really? What is this supposed to be for? Is this for just picking up and getting angry at the world? Or is this supposed to be something that is a tool to help me connect and to help me see other points of view and to connect human to human with people? Because, you know, anybody can sit there and just anger post all day long, but what does that really do other than get other people angry? And do I want to be angry all the time when I'm on my phone? No, and too many people do. Too many people just pick up and they're like, time to get angry, and it just feeds into itself. So, you know, you get out of it what you put into it. And if you put in measuredness and you put in kind of a positive outlook, you know, the internet reflects everything back at you 1,000 times over. So if you go to the internet looking for evidence that things are bad, you're going to find it, overwhelmingly so. So really think about what you you use the internet for, and really think about your time on social media and on your phone and what you really want out of it.
Yeah, a lot of people just fall into the cesspool that the internet can be, and then that's all they're reciprocating.
And that's it. And that reflects on people in the outside world, because you get this shade of idea that clouds your vision and makes you go, well, everything's this way. Look, you put on those red glasses and everything is red. So you see red everywhere.
So you kind of came out from those riots after everything had ended and almost found a sort of clarity.
Yeah,
okay, maybe the world's not falling apart.
Because I've worked with the FBI and I've worked with other law enforcement, and I used to hang out with these guys. Some of these guys are my friends. So I know that they're not bad people. I know that they're just trying to help and they're just trying to do what's right. But, you look at anybody who wears a badge with the lens that these are the bad guys, and it clouds how you interact with everybody, and it clouds how you interact with yourselves, and it clouds what services you want to even get, and then that moves into, well, if I can't trust anybody else, maybe I just need to arm myself, or maybe I need to go inside and prepare for the end times. And that's not helpful, because, all right, let's say the end times happen. You're still going to need farmers. You're still going to need a community. You're not going to be able to take care of yourself. You're still going to need to find a medical, you gotta look at it like that. You gotta look at your community as our support system.
So what was your, going back to that moment, what were you thinking when you decided I want to go back through and maybe unlike some of this stuff? Was it that you didn't want to be attached to it?
No. I was thinking that this is stuff that's making me angry. And this is stuff that's not reflective of the type of person that I want to be. I want to be a positive person in the world. I want to be the positive change. So when you say
unlike, are you saying unfollow?
Yeah, unfollow.
Not, you didn't go back and unlike post.
No. I just unfollowed things. I curated my
your feed.
My feed to be something that is a positive effect. And even with that, I try to limit my amount online as much as I can, because it's still going to catch up. It's still gonna be there, but where would you rather spend most of your day? Not
online.
No, not online. I'd rather be out there. I'd rather be talking to people. I'd rather be passing out flyers and giving people ideas about broadband community-owned networks. And yeah, I'd rather be a part of the solution than a part of the problem. How about that?
I think we could all take a page from that.
Yeah.
I guess we can kind of wrap up here. It's already 6 o'clock.
Oh crap, is it?
What do you rank your odds right now? I know we're still ways out from election day.
We are.
How are you feeling? I mean, you're thrust into the spotlight. You've already had some opposition, you're getting there's pressure.
Being a public figure, and being a horror director, which I did take down a lot of my horror. Nobody needs to see chainsaw kills on my director reel. But being a public figure and being a politician are two different things, for sure, by a lot. What are my odds right now? I'd say they're better than average. I've gotten a lot more support than I thought I would. People are generally, even in places that are very, very against other people, there has been a lot of support. a lot of people have come out, and it's kind of funny because, there are a few times that I've run into people that are like, you're not welcome here. This isn't a part of you can't be a part of this, and nobody likes you. And then people would clear out, and it'll be just one-on-one. And they'd be like, actually, I'm really glad that you're running because we need some new ideas and we need some new people. And you seem like you've got it together. And, just like at some point, I was the first politician other than him to actually go visit some of these communities, to actually go talk to people. And I've spent days driving down the worst roads in Humboldt County that I've ever seen. My car is definitely needs some tune-ups after driving down. I went to Honeydew from Red Crest, and you take that that route, and I wouldn't take an ATV down some of those. It was hairy. Those are some really rough roads. But yeah, I think people are ready for a change, and it's kind of funny because I know what's happening in the other camp, where they're just like, if you just ignore him, it'll go away. But that's not how things work. Ignoring things just makes things go worse. So don't do it. Don't ignore me. You're ignoring a lot of other people too. They don't like it. Anyway.
Are there any debates planned for you two? I know, again, we're still a ways out.
Yeah,
Is there anything on the docket
we are
coming
still
up?
a ways out. So a few people were talking to me about the Matole Grange debate that they want to have with us. And they were giving me some pointers and, kind of like setting me up for success.
It'd be interesting to see you two on the same stage debating your points.
Well, every time I have been in the same place as him, he doesn't seem very animated or very happy to be there. He introduced me to somebody as his opponent, and I had to clarify that I'm not his opponent. I'm somebody else that's trying to do good for the community. And if we think of each other as opponents, we're not going to get forward. Nothing's going to change. And things are just going to get worse.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Gordon, thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Do you want to plug where people can find you, all of your stuff, where they can check out the campaign, your resources?
So my campaign website is GordonClatworthy.com. I wanted to do something ridiculous like vote Gordon Clatworthy for 1st District Supervisor this 2020 or 2024 election.com as a big ridiculous. But I think people have a hard enough time spelling Clatworthy. So I just try to keep it simple. I will be at the Canifest this weekend. I'm also going to be on the Mixed Nuts comedy show. I'm going to be a part of that for a little bit, but let's just say my what I was going to say on comedy has completely changed now because everything I say now is political because I'm a politician now, and I hate that I had to say that I'm a politician. I hate it. Again, I'd rather be playing Starfield, but nobody else is going to fix this mess that everything is in. So
here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. But no, I'd say my my odds are better than average. How about that?
Well, I think baseline, everyone's just happy to see a healthy democratic process. Nobody should ever run unopposed.
No, definitely not. Especially not after 3 times in the same spot. If you're doing everything right 3 times in a row and you don't have any complaints from anybody, something's up. Something's up, for sure.
Okay. Well,
All
great.
right.
Thanks
Well-
for doing this, man. Really.
Of course, yeah. Anytime. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.